All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Gridiron Uncensored podcast. Just myself and Trevor so far tonight. Blake's got some stuff going on with the kiddos. Hopefully, he'll join up here shortly.
Right.
But until then, we're talking college football playoff. We got the rankings dropped today. We had some sore asses out there, ladies and gents. But before we talk,
The word of the day is butthurt.
Yeah. And hey, that's just how it goes. And but I will say, at least I'd rather have a sore ass at 12-13 than number 5. So
there you go.
We're going to talk some college championship games from over the weekend. We had some really good games, a lot of close ones down to the wire. So we're going to chat about that and obviously talk about the rankings that came out, and then the bracket that dropped this morning as well. So, Trev, initial thoughts on the games. How'd you feel about this weekend? Everything kind of shake out? I mean,
no, it didn't shake out the way I wanted it to. Not at all, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
Chaos did not completely ensue. There was a little bit of chaos, but I needed Arizona State to lose. And then all hell would have probably broken loose a little bit more. But a lot more people, a lot more shuffling of pieces if Arizona dropped out of that 12th spot, and I'm pretty sure Alabama would have just stayed in, really.
Yeah.
But really what I wanted to have happen, even though I'm glad it didn't happen, I wanted Arizona State to lose. I wanted Penn State to win.
You wanted the full chaos set.
I wanted full chaos mode. Even though I picked my picks the way I picked them, I still wanted chaos.
Well, I mean, everybody loves to see, crazy stuff go down, and I think this year was wonderful for the fandom just because it was so chaotic. Remnants, maybe not remnants the right word, but looking a lot like 2007. We said that maybe it was like week 8, kind of like, okay, this is kind of feeling that way, but it's not quite there yet. And then it just kept going. I feel like we can comfortably say it was kind of like 2007 season. And then obviously you add in the 12-team playoff and a lot more on the line for other teams, like UNLV and Boise State.
I was really hoping that would have been a better. I really hoped UNLV would have came with their A game, and they just did not.
Yeah, I mean, Boise showed up from the get-go, and we can just jump right into the game here. And it's just one of those. When you look at Boise State, they were ready. They came out. Jonty did his thing at 209 yards, 1 touchdown, and really it was just a nice performance from him. And that O-line was cooking too. So
they really did. They controlled the game. They nothing ever felt like it was out of Boise's control throughout that game. Like it never felt like there was a big momentum shift in any one way or the other. UNLV was making mistakes and doing penalties and just doing basically all the things you don't need to be doing in a championship game. And it basically it's win and potentially go to the playoff or
Yeah. I think for them it was, it's winning in. It's like, but I think Boise State felt that. They knew what was on the table and they laid it down, and Madsen had a nice game.
Winner good gets to the playoff and loser potentially does not. I mean, where Boise was, I mean, at the 10th ranked, if they lost to a 20 ranked team, they're out.
Yeah, they're done. Yeah, that one felt like it for sure, because we weren't really sure how the playoff committee was going to treat conference championship losses. How far might some teams drop? Would they drop at all? Like, did it matter? I mean, I felt like for the group of 5 teams it did. Maybe not so much, going into the weekend, maybe not so much for the Power 4.
Yep.
But as we saw, it didn't matter. Boise State handled their business and they locked it down. And now they get to sit back. They get to get that bye week and relax before they play the winner of SMU
100%.
and Penn State. Other games, we're going to go down the list real quick. This was our pick 'em for the weekend. And our Army came out and they smashed them. I don't know.
I was so happy. I was like, yes, let's get it.
I thought Tulane might have something in the tank, but no, they were toasted, man.
I love it.
I love that. I mean, 11-1 on the season. They
destroyed them,
Navy.
They never had that. There was no doubt in that game from start to finish.
None.
I mean, they didn't. Just for those of you that didn't watch the Army Tulane game, they did not throw a pass the entire first half. The first time they threw a pass was in the third quarter.
and they're only 2 for 2 of 17.
And they were 2 for 2.
Like, it's just another
That's right.
yards on the ground for Army, and that's what you expect from them, and
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
really shocked me on that one. I feel like earlier in the year they handled Navy well. I think we all agree that Army's better than Navy this season, but it's still similar concepts. And I just feel like the Tulane coaching staff is usually better about it when they deal with them. So I don't know. It kind of shocked me, but good win for Army. Really happy for them. Arizona State, they came out swinging, and dude, what a game! What a game!
Iowa State didn't have a chance. Like the
No.
way that Arizona State was playing in that game, there was no chance.
Yeah,
I thought they'd play better, honestly, but I thought that was more of a toss-up game. I thought that would have been a way closer game than what it was.
That was one of those, and I alluded to it in a chat with the guys. It felt like the Indiana game against Ohio State to me, where it's like a couple of miscues. You looked at, I think it was a pass interference call deep, for Iowa State. They had potential to catch a touchdown. They didn't get a flag. And then after that, it was just like the wheels fell off. Bad interception off of a helmet, missed penalties, whatever. And then they fell apart. And, Dillingham and Arizona State just went all gas,
That's
no brakes on it. And they fried them, man. 4th down conversions in their own zone on a 4th and inches going deep. They wanted it. And, that they got it. And now they have a bye going in, into the playoffs, and they'll play the winner of Texas and Clemson. So I mean, great for Arizona State getting that conference championship, first year in the Big 12.
That's right.
And we mentioned it preseason too, is this conference is looking for somebody to step up and be a big dog.
And to be perfectly honest, Arizona State was not on the radar.
No, they weren't. They
not on the radar at all.
If they were on your radar, anybody, let us know. Because
seriously, you should have bet on them at the beginning of the year. If they were on your radar, bet.
And I want to see receipts. Send us receipts.
Send them Good God. Good God.
Yeah. We'll talk about our preseason projections later in the show too, because
we're gonna dive into how bad that went.
Yeah, we're gonna diss on ourselves. I will say though, to my own horn, I did have Iowa State playing a team from Arizona. I just picked the wrong Arizona. And they told me flat.
No, that doesn't count. No, still doesn't count.
I tried. All right. Look, Arizona State, good for you. You jumped up into the race, and you're good to go. Let's move on.
The Battle of Ohio. Congratulations to Ohio.
Dude, Ohio flamed them, dude. They
were.
I mean, that was nasty.
Ooh, they destroyed them.
I mean, 233 on the ground, 230 in the air. It was nasty put on by Ohio, but I mean, Miami, they should be able to come back next year and look for a solid season again in the MAC. But Ohio, great season, 10-3, good win on them. Coach might be leaving or did leave. I'd have to double check because I've seen so many reports.
We'll dive into that definitely in the weeks to come on like who's leaving what program and all that.
Yeah, once everything clears up, because we all know how it goes, and then the transfer portal starting up, and that's going to get even more stupid. So move down the line here. We'll talk about
UGA.
UGA Texas game, and another just a tight battle. Really sloppy, to be honest. I mean, this game was a slop fest, really the entire first half.
The game,
Texas.
I mean,
how
Texas
many times?
And the penalties, they looked like Alabama there for a little bit. I ain't gonna lie.
I mean, between the penalties, the missed kicks, I mean, just drive killers, and then you're missing good passes. Ewers had 2 picks. It was just an ugly performance from both teams.
Yep.
Georgia finally got some stuff going after Beck went down. They got the ground game running, but
Kirby even mentioned it. I think, and it was on Sports Center when he was actually sitting down and actually talking about. Or no, it was this morning. He was talking about it. He was talking to the whatever selection show or whatever they were doing. He was talking about. He's like he felt like that when the rest of the team knew that backup quarterback was coming in, they all like dug down deep and freaking found another gear. And it really did feel that way.
Yes.
In the second half when why can't I think of his name right now, Brendan? Stockton. Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Stockton came in.
You got dad brain.
I really do think Stockton played really well, considering that man has literally saw the field one time this entire season.
Yeah.
And it was mop-up work, and that was it. But I thought he played great with everything that he's asked to do. And I'm giving up his body like that. I mean, his team was they were rallying around him.
He
The
got
entire
lit.
second half. That I've never seen someone take a hit that bad and it not be targeting.
I mean, and old boy got right back up too, though.
Oh boy, he was ready. He was good. He was. You could tell that he was trying to dust off the cobwebs, though.
Oh yeah,
like,
that's when you run around for a minute.
He had some bats in the belfry there, just fluttering around. Like, good lord.
Yeah, that's one you get up, you run around for a minute. You're like, oh yeah, shake it off. I'm good, man. I swear, dude. I swear I'm good. No, man, you're hurting. We saw your eyes. Yeah. But seriously, good performance for him. I know a lot of it was dink and dunk, but still, you have to step into that position and deliver. And he threw the one bad interception. Texas, honestly, they could have had a pick six on that, but
should have had a pick six. Should have had a pick six.
Yeah, the corner was like, or whoever it was, I can't remember, the safety maybe, was like trying to signal him to keep running. Like, what the hell are you doing? Of course he's going to run. What do you expect him to do? Instead, turn around and block the damn guy. So, that's just another miscue from that Texas team during the game.
Just a little lapse in focus throughout the game for Texas. Really, I think did them in. Like, it was. I don't. That's the only way I know how to describe it right now.
One of our friends asked Jacob. He asked Art should have come in after the half. I mentioned that too. Like, Quinn, there was moments he had really nice delivery, but then others it just looked off. And I thought that
his whole rhythm, in my opinion, was off that entire game.
Yeah,
I don't know what it was or why it was, but when they came out in the second half and had Arch Manning take that first snap, I was like, okay, here we go. He's gonna get. And they did a QB sneak and then walked out. I'm sorry, that dude is not Milrow. That dude is not Orgy. That is not a dude that you want running in between the tackles.
Yeah, I mean, he's got speed, but you don't want him dead. And I feel like even JJ when he played for Michigan, they ran him at key moments. But
it was
you're not really seeing that
most of the time. It was off tackle.
Exactly. You're not seeing that dude running straight in the gut of things. So I feel like Arch is going to be fine. I did think he probably could have come in and maybe done a little bit more. But, I mean, Quinn on the day, 27 of 46. He threw from 350 yards. Like, that's great. Right. But it's all the misses, the drop passes, and then, of course, the 2 interceptions. But the biggest issue I thought, though, was the run game for Texas after they had been pounding it. 51 yards for Wisner, only 2.7 per carry. That's just not going to get it done against Georgia. And even when Georgia leaves that door wide open for you, just like they did last week against Georgia Tech, the opportunity was there, and they ended up getting screwed. They lost it because they couldn't capitalize. They couldn't finish.
Absolutely.
So we'll see what Texas does in the playoffs. But I mean, they need to figure it out, because the 2 of the best teams that they played, both Georgia, they lost to. So going in, you're playing a Clemson team that's going to be hungry. I don't know if Dabo, whatever, how that game will go down, but this is a big test for Texas at home in the playoffs. And again, we'll talk more about that here shortly.
The Marshall Louisiana game was not a game at all.
Marshall went off.
Marshall had that from the get-go as well.
Yeah. Not much to report on that one. There's
really not much else to say about that other than Marshall had it from the get.
Yeah. And the other one, Jacksonville State, they went off and
they went off and took Western Kentucky out before the first half was over. So
I mean, again, big performances. Group of 5 making some noise, looking to position themselves next year for a run. Now let's talk. We got Clemson, SMU coming up, and then we'll talk Oregon as well. And I guess they're pulled up on my tab, so we'll talk Oregon first. There was a moment in the game early when I had friends texting like, "Hey, Penn State fraud alert! Like, they're done." And look, I'm no Penn State defender. I know we're both Michigan fans here, but we keep it objective. I do think they
I
have a
don't, but
talented
that's
team.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, you do you
I
hammer
don't
when you
really keep
can,
it objective.
but
However,
you try
I give Penn
sometimes.
State the team all the credit. I do
Yes.
not give that bald-headed freak any credit. I do
Oh,
not give
God.
that motherfucker
Sorry if
any
that
damn
got
credit.
loud. I have a strange laugh. That's what my friends have told me. But yeah,
I
I
do
tend
not
to
give him
bellow.
any credit. I give all the credit to the talent that
Yeah.
is on that team. I do not
And
think it's a coaching thing. I think it's an absolute. They just are a talented, strong defensive team.
yeah.
I still don't think Aller's that good of a quarterback, though. In my opinion, I think it's mostly the running backs that
Yeah.
did Oregon in. Oregon's run defense did not hold up well against that dual threat running back.
Yeah.
They're the two-headed monster that the Penn State
Right.
has at running back. I mean,
Yeah, I know what you mean. The Allen and Singleton,
yeah,
but yeah, I agree. I think Penn State's a talented team. They always are. They recruit well. They load up talent pretty well. It just comes down to execution in the game, and that goes into coaching. Now his James Franklin record, his record against top 25 opponents or top 15, whatever, is horrible. It's really
atrocious.
not good, or top 10. I don't know. Dial it in however the hell you want. It's not good. And but I mean, he still gets them there. He's got them into the playoff. That's great for Penn State. They seem to really like who they're playing in the playoffs. But they need to be ready for SMU.
Yeah,
And again, we'll talk
I mean,
about
I'm telling you what,
yeah,
and that leads us into SMU.
yeah,
For those of you that didn't watch the game, well, here's Oregon won barely.
yeah.
I
Well,
thought Oregon gave them so many chances to get back, like take the lead, get back
yes.
into it, and then Aller or something would happen where it just kind of just fizzled out, and or a turnover or just a change in momentum happened.
And
But yeah,
that's his
Oregon.
MO.
Yeah, it
For
really
a long
is.
that
It really is.
he'll look really nice. He'll have some really good moments. He'll stand in the pocket and take
Yeah.
a hit.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden he like regresses back to his old form.
Yep.
Even you go
Absolutely.
back to last year against Ohio State, against Michigan, key moments, throwing Dorse into the ground, like nobody around him. It's just things like that.
Yep.
But Alar's
He
good enough to get you there. I just
yeah.
don't think he's good enough to win the big one.
He's not good under pressure, meaning
Yeah.
not pressure of the game itself, but literal when he feels like he's been hit one or two times and he hears them footsteps. He starts hearing them footsteps. That's when Aller starts making mistakes and doesn't throw the ball accurately.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I agree with you. But Oregon, they sealed the deal. They did their thing. Get Dylan Gabriel 4 touchdowns on the night, no picks. Yep. Really, really solid game from him. Running game, 186 on the ground. But you need to be worried, to me, if you're Oregon, giving up damn near 300 yards on the deck. Right. That's a little scary. If I'm looking at that, but they'll have time to figure it out. I think Lanning's he's definitely on a mission this season. Let's go down. Let's talk about the ACC, because this is who really shook the entire playoffs system up.
Clemson came out hot. Clemson came out ready to play. I will give them all the credit in the world. I've ragged on Klubnik for 2 years.
Club me in the face.
Club me in the face, Klubnik. And I still don't like the way the guy talks. He annoys me, but whatever. But Clemson did come out they came out to play. I give them all the credit in the world. That being said, I also give SMU, and I don't give credit to Clemson's defense SMU did not really change their schemes of what they were doing. However, in that second half, they just took over.
Yeah.
They took over, and basically in the defense, I applaud SMU's defense for doing what they did, because they gave Clemson everything they wanted. And
especially in run support too. I was pretty impressed with that, because I like Moffat. I think he's a really strong back, but I mean, he's still only got 2.2 carry.
They locked him down pretty good.
Yeah, this was another case of everybody was getting their hopes up, like, oh, look, SMU, they're getting exposed. They're done. Kick them out. They're first half. There was a lot of teams that had that happen this year, where they got popped in the mouth, and then they had to look at Georgia Alabama game. That was a nuts finish. Games are never over until
But
it's over.
correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't it be at the beginning of the season, we were saying kind of the same thing, is that SMU was having these bad starts to games. They were having very slow starts to games at the beginning of the season. Now, midway through the season, they kind of started having complete games, but then when they got here, it was kind of reverting back to that slow starting as SMU team.
Yeah, and I think early on, a lot of it was, they were going through the quarterback, issues of,
That's true.
Preston Stone,
That's
Kevin
true.
Jennings, like, what are they doing there? I know even when they lost to BYU, Preston
Yeah,
Stone got the first couple drives, and they were losing yards like crazy, and then finally they're like, all right,
absolutely.
it's done. Jennings is coming in, whatever. But yeah, it's slow start, but they figured it out, and a lot of it comes down to planning, scheming, and just sticking to your game plan. And Rhett Lashley did that, and they
Mhm.
came out, and Jennings got hot, and once he got hot, I mean that team was cooking, and Clemson didn't have an answer
Nope.
until right at the end they were able to squeak out that long, beautiful field goal, and the rest is history. But I'm
Yep.
telling you, if Clemson blew them out, I do think Bama would still be in. But SMU making that comeback and showing that they can hang with these big dogs in the conference, I think
Mhm.
that's what kept them in. Now I know
Yeah.
that's the end of our pick 'em. You'll look at it real quick. I'll tell you our final records, and then we'll talk some playoff stuff.
Yeah.
Uh, I ended up winning on the pick 'em. 89-54 was my final. Trevor did come close. He had a nice comeback, 82-61. Blake was trying. He was straggling for anything. He had a good week, but
He had a good week. Yeah.
finished 78-65 on the year. So solid year for Pick'em. We look forward to doing it again. We're not betting, folks, but if you do, maybe you should follow us and don't accept us because we are not financial advisors. So I have
So,
to say that. But
real quick,
don't do locks though. Don't do
real,
grid locks.
real quick, we'll just go over our gridlocks that we did
Yeah.
this week real quick.
Hey.
Brendan went with Arizona State. We all know that they came through for
Yeah.
him. Blake went with UNLV, and I thought that was a really good pick because I thought UNLV was going to come out a lot better than it did, but it just didn't work out that way. And
Yeah.
then I picked Army, and that worked out great for me.
Yeah, hey, that pick right there. Look, we did this based on points. I know it's not on the graphic, but I have I try to keep it simple. Point system like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 type points, and that game right there got you over the hump, and you won the pick 'em for the year on points. You had 24 points for the gridlocks. I came in with 21. Blake 14. So
Yeah. Oh man,
solid.
poor Blake.
Yeah,
Oh god.
I know. Hey, tough year for our Bama boy, man. That's
Oh man.
yes.
Oh,
And
that was definitely a tough year.
if you are watching us for the first time, we are run to Trevor and I are both Michigan fans. Blake, our other partner, he's a Bama fan. So, he's not only did he lose the gridlocks, he had a rough night watching
Yeah.
Bama get pushed
All
out. But
together,
no,
yeah, rough
he's a
night.
good sport about it. He understands. He's not like tripping like some people probably are. So, let's talk about playoffs. And if you
Yeah,
want, Trev, you
let's do that real quick. Let's
bring
bring
up the
that up and
bracket.
take a look at
Yeah,
what we're looking at.
threw it together. That's what it's looking like. And obviously, the 4 buys go to the conference, the top 4 highest ranked conference champions. And then the 5th conference champion does get in, and that would be your Clemson sneaking in there at 12, even though they were number 16 in the college football playoff rankings. So if you're not aware, again, it is 5 conference champions do get auto bids, that the highest 4 get the buys. And there's a lot of discussion about that right now. Like, should that be changed? Probably,
There
even if you
there is
give,
there
yeah,
was a conversation this morning. I think they were talking, and Kirby Smart made a mention of it as well, that he thinks that it should just be a seeding system. Best 4 teams just get the bye, regardless of
yeah,
whether they're a conference champion or not. Kind of like the March Madness, the college basketball stuff. Like it's the best teams get the best,
yeah.
get the buys, and then move on from there.
Yeah, I personally don't mind the auto bids for the top 5 highest ranked conference champions, whatever. I don't mind that, but I do agree. I think given like Boise State and Arizona State, the bye really makes the rest of the seeding. It just
Skewed.
feels uneven.
It's skewed.
Yeah,
So yeah, like that's where I have a problem with it because as of right now, the way I look at this is that assuming, and I'm making assumptions here, if I'm assuming that Texas beats Clemson and then Texas has to play Arizona State. And I'm sorry, Arizona State, you do not match up well against Texas. But doesn't mean that you can't win.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, on paper, you don't match up well against them with their outside speed. But
yeah, they do.
I also can say the same thing about Penn State and their route.
That's where I was going to lean.
Yeah.
And previous to this, everybody said, look at that 5 spot. That 5 spot's where it's at. Like, that's going to me, that 5 this year is still, I mean, you still got to play Clemson, which is loaded with talent.
And I feel like Arizona State is playing hot.
Yeah.
And they're playing ready to go. But
then, everybody's now looking, okay, Penn State, they've got the easiest path, when you're looking at it. They still have to go. They got to play a tough SMU team. I think they're tough. Maybe
I don't think Penn State gets out of their bracket either way. Because I really don't. Well, I don't see Indiana beating Notre Dame, and I think Georgia will be in that side of the bracket. Georgia's by far the best team, in my opinion.
Yeah, but even then, like that lately, they've been shaky at times. So I mean, somebody can get them.
I haven't been paying attention, but I don't think they released any information on Beck yet.
Not that I've seen.
His arm.
If you guys know, let us know in the comments.
Yeah, go ahead and let us know if you happen to have heard anything about his arm, because I have not.
Yeah,
and I've been trying to keep an eye on ESPN and all that stuff and seeing if anything pops up.
It's probably smart for him just to not say anything for a while and just let it be, because
could just be a strain. It could just be a strain, and hopefully nothing got torn.
Yeah,
hopefully, but
yeah. So we'll see what happens. But I do think you're going to have discussion of either reseeding after the first round or removing the auto bids. For the auto buys, I should say. You might even lose bids. I don't know.
I just think that they should remove the automatic bid for conference champion. I think that should be removed, and it should just be go off of the playoff rankings of the top 4, get the buys, whatever that looks like, whatever that is. It doesn't mean that the group of 5 won't be able to get in, because they can still put them into the playoff as being the best group of 5 team in the group of 5. That can still be a thing where the best group of 5 team gets in automatically. Yeah. They just have to play a first round game. They don't get an automatic bye.
Yeah, that's the one I would get behind, is removing the auto buys for the conference champions, because I feel like one should be in the first seed should be in the bracket with the 12th team.
Right.
To me, that makes the most sense. But hey, Ohio State's been beaten, Tennessee's been beaten. So I mean, it's not like any of these teams aren't, they can't be got.
There's only one team in this whole bracket that's perfect.
Yeah. And I think going forward, we're going to see a lot more of years where there's not perfect teams. Oregon had a great season, and that they need to be ready for.
And honestly, if I was Oregon, I'd want Tennessee over Ohio State again.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't. That'd just be
probably.
Me.
I don't know, but I mean, the running game for Tennessee's been on, and they just gave up a ton. So I don't know. It's gonna be interesting. And I'll say, let's talk about the bracketing here. Because Texas gets a home game against Clemson. Right. That's going to be every single home game is going to be awesome. Great stadiums, great venues.
I'm excited.
I really like the matchups, to be honest with you. Yep. I would like to see the shift, happen, to what we were just talking about. But for what we have, I think they're really cool matchups. Indiana playing at, Notre Dame, like
Penn State playing in Boise, assuming they beat SMU, that'd be interesting.
Well, at that point, they go
to the bowl. They do. Never mind.
I wish you were right, though.
That would have been cool. That would have been cool, though. Anyway,
they go to the venue, games, home games,
actual bowl games or whatever.
Yeah. Hey, I wish it was like that, but still, it'll be a cool matchup. And looking at Tennessee going into the horseshoe, I mean, that's the shoe. That's going to be a hell of a game. The scenery is just going to be wild. But I saw some that the Penn State game is not at night, so I thought they missed a huge opportunity for a big whiteout.
They missed the big opportunity for that one.
But look, it's an exciting setup. I really do think you're going to see a lot of good games. Mm-hmm. Now, you also right now Vegas put out a bunch of their odds, and just about everyone's. I think every home team or higher ranked is a 7-point favorite off the initial odds.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of surprised me a little bit with some of these matchups, but I guess we'll see. Odds don't really matter though. Just ask a couple of teams. Maybe the team that also got knocked out of the playoffs.
This is gonna be fun. I'm excited. I think the games start on the 20th. I think is the first game.
Yeah, I believe so. I had to double check. Yeah, first round December 20th and 21st. That'll be all at home. Then the quarterfinals begin December 31st, January 1st. That'll be your Fiesta, Peach, Rose, and Sugar Bowl. And then the semifinals start January 9th through 10th. And then, of course, the national title will be January the 20th. So keep an eye out for that. Don't forget, games start earlier than what they have been. Yeah, I agree with you, Jay. It should always be played at night. Get that any games at Penn State night games are just awesome. That should be done. But maybe they just don't want James Franklin to fold in under the lights again. We'll see. I'm not trying to be a hater, but maybe I am. All right, let's move on and talk about Alabama. Do you think they were snubbed in this selection process? I know I get the reasoning. We'll talk about it. Trev, your initial thoughts?
No, they did not. I think more so SMU played themselves back into the playoff.
Yeah.
They showed enough, and I mean, I'm sure it doesn't hurt that you have the opponent basically saying that's a playoff team. Literally, like the other team is literally advocating for that team to be in the playoff.
Yeah.
So I mean, I thought that was a class act by Dabo, and Dabo is a class act, and he always has been, really. So, but yeah, I don't think Alabama got snubbed because, look, at the end of the day, this is why the regular season matters so much. If you don't win enough games, you're gonna put yourself in a position where it's not up to you.
Yeah.
So, like, if you don't win enough games to get yourself in the championship game, it's no longer in your hands.
Yeah, I agree. You can't let fate decide, where you go. You can't let this committee just determine where you go. When it comes down to it, I do feel for Bama fans because they do have 3 top 25 wins. They have a strong strength of schedule.
I get it. I get why they have every right to be upset. But at the same time, when you look at the bracket the way it is, it's just like, well,
they should be upset at themselves as well. If you're going to hate, hate on yourselves too. SMU, I agree. Their strength of schedule is a little bit weaker. Pretty decently weaker compared to Alabama, but they didn't have the losses. And to me, losses tell you so much about a team. A lot of people on Twitter or whatever have been really trying to downplay losses lately. Like, oh, they don't matter. Like Notre Dame losing to Northern Illinois. Doesn't matter. Look what else has happened. It doesn't matter. I disagree. That shit still matters. And apparently to the committee it does too, because they didn't move up, even with teams losing in front of them here in the conference championship week. But then you look at SMU. Look, no, they didn't have a marquee win. I agree. But they also didn't get blown out by a bad Oklahoma team. Oklahoma, good defense, offensively, disgusting. Or even you look at Vandy, who was kind of on fire for a minute, and then they fell off. Or you look at Ole Miss, they're very salty. Lane Kiffin, that dude is pissed right now, and he just keeps bitching online. Dude, look, you lost to Kentucky. They won one game in the SEC, and who was that one game to? You, Bo. Like, come on, man. So to me, it's not as a big deal. Like, I'm not going to lose sleep over it. I felt bad for Florida State last year. I legitimately felt bad for them.
Nope.
This year, hey, look, it sucks. You should have won your game. And if you didn't get blown out by Oklahoma, you're probably sitting in there. If it was a close loss, or if you lost to Missouri instead, you're probably sitting there at a 3-loss team. I think you're going to get the benefit of the doubt for being SEC and all that stuff, except when you get blown out of the water. Because that's a big thing right now. The Bama fans, the SEC fans, I get what you're saying. I do. But I don't know. It's, to me, you shouldn't get blown out. If you don't want that issue, don't get blown out by teams that you shouldn't. Right. So that's our takes on it. If Blake jumps in, we'll ask his response on it, because I know he obviously he's a Bama fan, but he really thought strength of schedule, like that should matter the most. And I do get that.
I hear that, but at the same time, if I don't know, I feel like if you got 2 losses and you didn't get to the championship game, once again, you put yourself in a position where it's not up to you.
Yeah.
And I just that's the end of it, is that the Bama fans can be as mad as they want, and probably rightfully so, that they didn't squeeze in there at the 12 spot.
Yeah.
But at the same time, SMU, I really did think, performed well enough to make a case for themselves on the field. And I know that we haven't had this conversation in a long time, but this committee is victim of the moment. So now they made that decision in the moment. So they just saw SMU come back from, what was it, 24 point? They were 24 points, 21 points down at one point.
Yeah.
And they came all the way back to force Clemson to get a last-second field goal to win the championship, where it was actually looking like they were going to go to overtime.
Yeah, I mean, it was 24-7 at halftime.
Yeah, okay,
and they made that
close, but yeah, still, like, three scores down, and they came back, and they didn't. They only allowed Clemson to really get one score, and that was it. And the entire second half, other than the field goal.
Yeah, so I mean, it was just the nature of that game really ended it that way. So
either way, I really think it's just that's what we're talking about here. Is just that the committee was looking at that as a right now scenario, and right now they believe that SMU is just a little bit better.
Show that they can.
They showed they can hang.
Yes, and if they didn't, if they got blown out, I think Bama would still be sitting there.
That's right.
But either way, in the end, it does not matter. And
this is what we have.
and for me, again, it's I hear the issues. I got it. You're worried about strength of schedule, and should we schedule tough out of conference opponents? Like that's a big thing right now. I still think you should. I just think you shouldn't get blown out in conference. It's in conference too, from the bottom feeders. So. Either way, we're going to talk a little bit about our end of season or our preseason projections. How that
I don't know. We want to talk about it, but let the people rag on us, because we are about to open it up.
Yeah, let's pull it up. Look at read it and we.
Hey, look at that, Clemson ACC. I got one.
Hey, you did good, brother. You did good.
Oh,
and look,
I almost had Texas. We were all on point. So, I mean, Texas and Georgia.
We had some big misses, okay, but we had some.
I had a lot of big misses. I had 2 very big misses.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about the Big Ten one there, Trevor. Yeah, or Utah. God dang, man. Look,
Utah was a big disappointment this year.
This was our first season doing season previews, and we went into every single team. And we really tried to dissect what they had. And, we were a little different from Vegas, obviously, but we also, you try to look at these teams like Utah, they had a solid roster, but it all, again, hinged on Cam Rising. Look what happened. Mm-hmm. Michigan, a solid roster. How does it go in with the new quarterback play? What's the coaching staff look like? Well, things changed and evolved, and, it got to that point. Memphis was so close. They had moments, but then they got blown out by Navy, and that knocked them back, even though they're still a very strong team. Texas State, I really thought with the quarterback coming in, McLeod, and the schedule setup they had, that they would have been really close to contention for this year, but they really fell apart. And Liberty too. So Boise State, we mentioned it in the preseason that that's a team to watch. I just didn't think that they would be able to get through their schedule. I thought the Mountain West was going to be a little bit stronger. And I still think it's a solid conference. Like, I'm not saying they're not, but I just thought they might slip up a second time, but they didn't. So that's what happens. Florida State, though, Blake picked FSU, and I think most of us had them being higher than they were. I don't think anybody expected the season that they had. I mean, just disgusting. Same with Utah. Yeah. Hey, we're just quietly gonna say that, like,
We're
hey,
just gonna bring that up
well,
there real
don't. I
quick.
mean, shit. Don't look at mine either. NC State.
Oh
I
my
did
God,
have them
NC
play.
State dropped the ball too.
Look, I did have them playing Clemson in the net or in the conference title. I like Grayson McCall, and I thought the running back that they brought in was strong, and the O line. I thought they had pieces
on
there.
paper. They looked like they were going to contend, and then once they got on the field, it was just a big old flop.
I think a lot of teams like that. Virginia Tech kind of fell apart. Like all these teams that you thought preseason, even California had looks of being a contender in the ACC, and they fell apart.
Yep.
But it all fell apart for us when we picked Utah, Florida State, NC State. So whatever, make fun of us, please.
Michigan.
But look, we put in work. Okay, we do our best, and
Lord help
we
me.
try not to to be the same bullshit that ESPN throws out every single year. Oh, everything's chalk. It's only recruiting rankings are all that matter. No, it's not. Whatever. It does matter a lot, but shit happens. Look at this year, for example. All right, we also did a team draft. Yes, so this was kind of fun at the beginning of the season. We I think it was the Mac and Cube show that did something similar, like a redraft of the conferences. What you would do. We kind of did the same thing, and it just added a point system to it. Like you said, I'm very simple: 1 point per win, 2 points. Kind of make it a little bit fun that way. And we haven't gone through the points yet. I have not done that, but just looking at it, we still got bowl games and shit left. Playoff.
I got
position.
3 teams in. The rest of the teams are blah.
Sure, yeah. I mean, Oregon, Texas, looking good. Clemson, 3 playoff teams, but then you got Kansas, Michigan, LSU. I mean, Utah.
Blah. Just a whole lot of blah.
But then, I've got, let's see, I got 3 playoff teams as well. And then I almost had a 4th one with Iowa State. Arizona, you disappoint me. You destroyed my hopes. K-State, you're right there for a bowl win. And then looking at Blake, Georgia, and Notre Dame, those 2 are going to have to carry. Oklahoma State fell apart. Virginia Tech, yeah, kind of in that mid zone. Missouri, yeah, they're ranked. They're whatever, 9-3, but they did horrible this year against top teams.
Yeah, so Georgia, I need Notre Dame. They're going to be carrying him.
And then that Florida State one's going to
that one's going to hurt. That one's going to hurt a bit.
Not even trying to.
Blake was all in on Florida State.
Not even trying to dig on it, man. It's just look at it. Look at it.
It hurts. It hurts to look at. My eyes.
But we'll add that up. I'll share it on the socials and whatnot, so you guys can all see that. But hey, look, that's it. We had a good time talking about it, and I'm excited to see how this playoff breaks down, and really see who comes out unscathed. I still think Oregon's the best team. I had them, I think, preseason to be my national champion. So we'll see. Hopefully that flows through.
At the end of the day, right now, I can honestly say that I think that Oregon has the best quarterback in the playoff as of right now.
Dylan Gabriel's been on it. I really like his game. I like Levitt too, to be honest with you, for Arizona State. He's been looking really solid.
Yep.
But we'll see what happens with Carson Beck. We'll see what happens with Ewers. How does he perform? And then of course, keep an eye out for the transfer portal, all that shit. It's about to start kicking off. I think tomorrow it's going to go to town. It opened a little bit earlier this year, but there's still the 2 windows. So, let's see. Jacob asked final thoughts on Ryan Day before we shut down.
He will not lose his job.
No,
mainly, and I saw this point earlier, and it's not because they don't want to. It's because of the amount of money that him and the coaching staff would have to pull to have the buyouts pay out. Yeah. And then on top of that, to get a similar caliber coach, we're talking into the $10 to $20 million range.
Yeah.
And Ohio State they're not wanting to start over.
I'll say there's talk. The fan base is obviously very angry. They don't like what happened this year. And we said it preseason. If Michigan does beat them for 4 straight, and they've got, at the time we thought Alex Orji was starting at quarterback. You lose to Alex Orji, they're probably that seat's going to get hot, but it just depends on the playoff run. If he gets outed,
by the Vols, it's whew.
And Look, I think he's a good coach. I do. I mean, look at what he's done for Ohio State. He's kept them on trajectory. He's got them to playoffs. They were a field goal away from missing. Yes. Hey, go blue. But no, I'm trying to be dead ass serious here. I think he's a solid coach. I do. But if he can't get them over that hump, and it's like a mental lock or whatever, you're going to see them go on from, especially if he gets outed in the first round here. I think it's very, very possible.
Internet's going to get him fired.
Oh, they're gonna tear him up.
The internet's going to break.
And even his record versus top 25, I'm pretty sure is not bad.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean,
again, playoff appearances, all these things for Ohio State.
I don't know. He's
a missed field goal again
in my head, but
away from playing for the national championship. You know, so I don't know. It's a tough scene for Ohio State. Can't say I'm losing sleep over it. But,
I'm enjoying all.
I'm
enjoying all the shade that he's getting thrown right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's better than James Franklin, So.
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know. He's fake though, man. Like his face don't even look real anymore.
He's a fake person. Is he he's a cyborg?
I think I don't know.
He wasn't shell shock after the Michigan game though. That dude, he was just looking like Sleepy Joe out there on the field.
Yeah, he's like, what's going on, man?
Yeah, I don't know. That was wild to see. Either way, yeah, we'll see what happens with what they do with Ryan Day. It all just depends on the run for this playoff. But Tennessee comes to town, and they better be ready and rocking.
Yeah, absolutely.
We'll see what happens from there. Trev, anything else before we shut it down?
Not really. It's going to be a blast to watch the first 12-team playoff go off. I'm excited to see it, and I just want to say thank you to all our Twitter people for showing up. Y'all are awesome. All our friends on Facebook, y'all are awesome. It's been our largest crowd since we've started doing the live shows, so we really truly appreciate it.
Absolutely. And again, we do this every Sunday night during the season. 8 p.m., do a live recap, and then we do shows Tuesday night, previewing the week before. Probably take a break here maybe, and we'll see what happens. We got to plan out the next show and see, about the bowl breakdown. We'll get all that stuff going.
We will put a post out though, so you guys know when the next live show will be.
Absolutely. So keep an eye out. We'll keep you updated on the socials. Again, you can listen on podcast. Follow us on Twitter. I see a lot of you guys are on from Twitter. If you haven't already, subscribe on YouTube. That helps us a lot. Subscribe on, Spotify, any podcast platform. We really appreciate it. So yeah, we'll catch you later. Keep an eye out for the next post. We'll talk to you on the old threads out there. So see you around.
We'll see you guys next show. Take care.
Good night.